The Dallas Cowboys entered Sunday already facing a harsh reality about their 2025 season. One day earlier, their playoff hopes were officially extinguished when the Philadelphia Eagles clinched the NFC East. That outcome alone closed the door on postseason contention. But Sunday's loss to the Los Angeles Chargers delivered another blow. Dallas can no longer finish the season with a winning record. The season's ceiling collapsed completely. With a record of 6-8-1, the Cowboys now face a stark finish. At best, they can reach 8-8-1 by winning their final 2 games. Those games will both come on the road. Anything less guarantees a losing season. The margin for avoiding further disappointment is razor thin, and even that goal feels hollow. The Chargers' loss came in the Cowboys' final home game of the season. That context made the defeat sting more deeply. AT&T Stadium offered no late-season redemption. Instead, it became the setting for acknowledgement. The 2025 season would not meet expectations. The reality could no longer be softened. This outcome marked a significant historical note. If Dallas loses even one of its remaining games, it will record consecutive losing seasons. That has not happened since 2001 and 2002. Those years were led by head coach Dave Campo. The comparison underscores the gravity of the situation. It highlights how far expectations have fallen. Coming into the season, optimism was widespread. The Brian Schottenheimer era began with promise. A blockbuster trade for George Pickens raised expectations. The roster appeared balanced and dangerous, yet results never aligned with ambition. The disconnect defined the year. By mid-December, hope gave way to reflection. The Cowboys were no longer chasing playoff positioning. They were fighting optics, accountability, and direction. Sunday's loss clarified that shift. The season's narrative changed permanently. Evaluation replaced aspiration. The numbers tell a harsh story. Statistically, the Cowboys' season has been difficult to defend. Despite impressive production on offense, the results never followed. Dallas fielded 2 1,000-yard receivers. They also had a 1,000-yard running back and a 4,000-yard passer. Those benchmarks usually define contenders. Instead, Dallas finds itself clinging to mediocrity. The offense produced numbers, but not separation. Scoring drives were often offset by defensive breakdowns. Close games tilted the wrong way. Momentum proved fleeting. Consistency was elusive. The defense, however, defined the season's collapse. Statistically, it ranked among the worst units in the NFL. In some categories, it was the worst. Missed tackles, blown coverages, and lack of pressure persisted. Opposing quarterbacks frequently dictated terms. The Cowboys rarely imposed their will. A mid-season trade briefly masked those issues. Dallas acquired All-Pro defensive tackle Quinnen Williams at the trade deadline. The move sparked a 3-game win streak. That stretch included wins over the Eagles and the Chiefs. For a moment, belief returned. But it was short-lived. The surge now feels distant. The Cowboys followed it with a 3-game losing streak. The defense regressed once more. The optimism faded quickly. What felt like a turning point now feels illusory. Reality reasserted itself. In hindsight, the numbers reveal imbalance. Explosive offense without reliable defense rarely succeeds. Dallas lived that truth repeatedly. The statistical profile told one story. The standings told another. The gap between them defined the season. Jerry Jones addresses underachievement. Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones did not shy away from responsibility. When asked if the team underachieved, his answer was direct. Yes, Jones said, without hesitation. He acknowledged the gap between expectations and reality. The failure to reach the playoffs made that clear. There was no ambiguity. Jones emphasized that the underachievement was collective. Players, coaches, and management were all included. He framed the disappointment as organizational, not isolated. That distinction mattered. It suggested introspection rather than scapegoating. Accountability was broad. Despite the disappointment, Jones pointed to positives. He said there were things the team could carry forward. That acknowledgement reflected balance. Even failed seasons contain lessons. The question, Jones noted, is whether the right changes are made. That question now defines the offseason. Jones' comments carried both frustration and resolve. He did not minimize failure, but he also did not express despair. Instead, he emphasized evaluation. That tone suggested change is possible, but not guaranteed. For Dallas fans, Jones' honesty resonated. Denial would have deepened frustration. Admission created clarity. The season did not meet standards. That reality is now accepted. The next step is response. Jones' willingness to include himself in the failure stood out. Ownership accountability is rare, but it matters. It frames subsequent decisions, and it sets expectations for what comes next. The evaluation process has begun. Much of the evaluation centers on defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. Jones acknowledged that Eberflus would be a focal point. The defense's statistical performance demands scrutiny. There is no avoiding that reality. Jones called the conversations ahead necessary, not optional. Jones resisted labeling those discussions as difficult. Instead, he framed them as essential. The goal, he said, is to avoid repeating this situation next year. That framing emphasized responsibility over emotion. Evaluation is part of the job, and it comes with the territory. Jones made it clear that the entire year would be reviewed. Not just individual games, not just injuries, but overall performance and direction. Options will be weighed. Corrections will be considered. While Eberflus is under scrutiny, Jones avoided singling him out unfairly. He acknowledged that hiring decisions ultimately fall on ownership. That self-awareness mattered. Jones admitted that hindsight invites criticism, but leadership requires owning those outcomes. He accepted that burden. This honesty reframed the discussion. Eberflus is not being evaluated in isolation. The entire structure is under review. That includes philosophy, personnel, and continuity. Nothing is off the table. Change is possible. The coming weeks will determine direction. Eberflus' future remains uncertain, but the evaluation is deliberate. Jones' comments signaled seriousness. No decisions are rushed, but none are avoided. The issue of defensive continuity. Jones also addressed the lack of continuity on defense since the departure of Dan Quinn. He admitted that the instability has been frustrating. Defensive leadership has shifted repeatedly. Systems have changed. Personnel has rotated. That churn has consequences. Jones emphasized his belief in continuity. He described it as an edge. When players, coaches, and management align over time, performance improves. Dallas has not enjoyed that stability recently. That absence showed on the field. Mistakes compounded. At the same time, Jones acknowledged complexity. Continuity alone is not enough. It must involve the right people. Keeping continuity for its own sake is insufficient. Results matter. Performance defines legitimacy. Jones noted that the current staff has developed some continuity. Eberflus has been in place for 2 years. Certain elements of the scheme have stabilized. That fact complicates decisions. Change disrupts continuity, but stagnation demands action. This tension defines the off-season dilemma. Do the Cowboys sacrifice continuity to seek improvement? Or do they double down on stability and adjust elsewhere? Jones acknowledged that trade-off openly. There is no perfect answer, only calculated risk. Jones' comments revealed a leader weighing philosophy against reality. Continuity has value, but so does accountability. The defense's struggles cannot be ignored. Balancing those truths will shape decisions. The stakes are high. Failure to apply pressure. One of Jones' sharpest critiques centered on pass rush. Against the Chargers, Dallas failed to pressure Justin Herbert. Jones called that failure disappointing. Very disappointing. The game plan emphasized pressure. Execution did not follow. Jones pointed out that Herbert struggles more when pressured. That tendency was evident on film. Dallas identified it. They prepared for it, but they failed to exploit it. That shortcoming proved costly. The absence of Quinnen Williams was noted. His impact was missed. However, Jones emphasized that others played well. Kenny Clark provided solid snaps. Still, pressure never materialized consistently. That gap mattered. Pass rush failures expose coverage. They extend plays. They stress defensive backs. Dallas experienced all of that. Herbert operated comfortably. That comfort translated into production. Jones' disappointment reflected missed opportunity. The plan was sound. The execution was not. That distinction frustrates decision-makers. It suggests potential without realization. A recurring theme. Ultimately, the lack of pressure symbolized the season. Preparation existed. Talent existed. But results did not. That disconnect demands evaluation. And possibly change. Jones was also asked whether moving Tyler Smith to left tackle hinted at future plans. His response was measured. Jones denied that it was a definitive signal. Smith is playing tackle now out of necessity, but the long-term picture remains open. Options still exist. Jones referenced past experience moving Larry Allen. That move resulted in all-pro success. The comparison was intentional. It underscored belief in Smith's versatility. Dallas has long viewed Smith as capable, but that does not negate faith in Tyler Guyton. Jones emphasized that Guyton remains a viable option at left tackle. He did not want to diminish that belief. The situation is fluid. Injuries dictate current alignment. Evaluation will continue. Nothing is locked in. This response reinforced Dallas' broader philosophy. Flexibility matters. Positions evolve. Players adapt. Decisions are not rushed. The offseason will clarify roles. For now, Smith provides stability. Beyond that, questions remain. Jones' comments reflected openness rather than commitment. That ambiguity mirrors the season. Potential exists. Certainty does not. This approach allows Dallas to reassess fully. Health, performance, and development will factor in. No single move defines the future, but every move informs it. The evaluation continues, and patience remains. Confidence in Dak Prescott. Despite the season's failures, Jones expressed strong confidence in Dak Prescott. He said he is very pleased with Prescott going forward. Nothing about the season diminished that belief. Jones described quarterback as the key position, and optimism remains intact. That endorsement mattered. Prescott's individual performance stood out amid team struggles. He surpassed 4,000 passing yards. He maintained leadership. He absorbed pressure. The offense remained productive. Failures elsewhere overshadowed his contributions. Jones' comments signaled stability at quarterback. That position will not be questioned. The foundation remains strong. Dallas believes in Prescott. That clarity matters. It simplifies offseason decisions. Confidence in Prescott also frames other evaluations. With quarterback settled, focus shifts elsewhere. Defense becomes the priority. Continuity decisions gain clarity. The core is identified. Adjustments follow. Jones' optimism contrasted with broader disappointment. It provided a point of reassurance. Not everything is broken. Some pieces remain elite. Prescott represents that continuity. Dallas builds around it. Ultimately, Prescott's standing is secure. The season did not change that. Jones made that clear. The challenge lies elsewhere. And that clarity will guide the offseason. The cornerstone remains. A season of misaligned expectations. The Cowboys entered 2025 with legitimate aspirations. Roster upgrades fueled belief. Coaching changes promised evolution. Early flashes reinforced optimism, but alignment never followed. Expectations outpaced execution. The gap between potential and performance defined the year. Moments of brilliance were isolated. Consistency never materialized. The defense lagged behind. The offense carried disproportionate weight. Balance never emerged. Jones' comments reflected that frustration. He acknowledged what could have been. He recognized what was not. That honesty framed the season accurately. This was not a talentless team. It was an underachieving one. Fans felt that tension weekly. Hope resurfaced briefly, then vanished. The post-buy surge teased possibility. The collapse erased it. Emotional fatigue followed. The season now ends not with urgency, but evaluation. Goals shift. Narratives change. December becomes introspective. January will bring decisions. The cycle continues. This misalignment forces hard questions. About philosophy. About leadership. About direction. The answers will define 2026. The stakes are clear. As the season winds down, Dallas faces a pivotal offseason. The roster has talent. The quarterback is secure. But the defense demands attention. Coaching decisions loom. Continuity will be tested. Jones' comments set the tone. Evaluation will be thorough. Accountability will be shared. No area is immune. Change is possible, but not guaranteed. The future of Matt Eberflus remains uncertain. The defensive identity is under review. Continuity battles necessity. The decision will shape the next phase. Dallas cannot afford stagnation, nor reckless change. Avoiding a losing season now feels symbolic. The bigger picture looms larger. Culture, direction, and execution matter more. The Cowboys must recalibrate. Expectation must meet reality, or disappointment will repeat. Jones' honesty provided clarity. The season failed expectations. That truth is accepted. What follows will determine progress. The offseason begins now, and Dallas stands at a crossroads. In the end, the 2025 season will be remembered not for promise, but for lessons. Lessons about balance, about accountability, about continuity, and about execution. The next chapter begins with those lessons in mind.